Did you know that a food many people believe to be one of the healthiest and most recommended for maintaining strength and vitality may actually be accelerating muscle loss after the age of 50? If you're past this age and have noticed that getting out of bed, climbing stairs, carrying groceries, or staying active during the day is becoming harder, the way you're consuming eggs might be one of the reasons. Yes, we're talking about eggs. The same ones doctors and nutritionists often recommend as a source of high-quality protein. The problem isn't the egg itself, but the common mistakes in how it's consumed, which may be compromising your muscle health and functional independence. The progressive loss of muscle mass, known as sarcopenia, begins around age 30 but accelerates significantly after 50. On average, we lose between 3% and 8% of our muscle mass per decade. That means it's possible to lose up to 16% of your strength and mobility in 20 years, enough to turn simple tasks into major challenges. And recent research shows that some mistakes in how eggs are consumed can speed up this process by up to 40%, reducing strength, balance, and vitality. This impact isn't just about aesthetics or physical strength. Weaker muscles increase the risk of falls, fractures, and loss of independence. To illustrate, let's look at the case of Maria, a 68-year-old woman who, for 15 years, had the habit of eating 2 eggs every morning, believing she was taking care of her health. However, over the past 3 years, she lost so much strength that she could no longer carry groceries or get up from low chairs on her own. Her lab tests showed levels of essential amino acids similar to those of someone with protein malnutrition, even though she was eating eggs daily. This happened because she was making 6 of the 7 mistakes we'll examine. After correcting how she consumed eggs, Maria regained 23% of her lost muscle mass in just 6 months, returned to doing her daily activities without help, and felt more energetic than she had in years. The first mistake, and one of the most common, is known as the single breakfast syndrome, which consists of concentrating all egg consumption only at breakfast. Although eggs are an excellent choice for that meal, limiting protein intake to one moment in the day hinders the continuous synthesis of muscle protein. The body doesn't function like a fuel tank that you fill once and then run all day. For muscle building and maintenance, we need a steady supply of amino acids throughout the day. Research from the Aging Research Center at the University of Arkansas shows that people over 50 need about 25 to 30 grams of high-quality protein at each meal to efficiently stimulate protein synthesis, a much higher amount than what's required for younger adults, which is around 15 to 20 grams. One large egg contains about 6 grams of protein. So even if you eat 3 eggs for breakfast, you'll only reach 18 grams. Not enough to fully activate the muscle building process. And the problem worsens when there's no distribution of that protein throughout the day. It's like watering a garden all at once. Some plants get drenched, while others go hours without a drop. In muscles, this momentary excess of amino acids is only useful for a few hours since the body doesn't store protein for later use. Once that peak passes, if there's no replenishment, the body enters a catabolic state, breaking down muscle tissue to meet energy and metabolic demands. A study published in the Journal of Nutrition, which followed 120 older adults over 12 weeks, compared 2 groups, one that consumed 30 grams of egg protein only at breakfast, and another that divided the same amount into 3 meals, 10 grams each. The result was clear. The group that spread out their intake had a 25% increase in muscle protein synthesis, compared to just 8% in the breakfast-only group. They also showed better muscle mass retention, 34% higher, increased leg strength, 28%, improved balance and coordination, 19%, and less fatigue during daily activities. The solution to mistake number 1 is simple but requires a shift in mindset and eating habits. Instead of eating 2 or 3 eggs at breakfast and then going the rest of the day without including them, you need to spread your intake throughout the day. The recommended strategy is to consume 1 or 2 eggs every 4 to 6 hours, creating steady, controlled peaks of amino acids in the bloodstream. This regularity provides continuous fuel so muscles get the building blocks they need for repair and growth. Mistake number 2 is what we call destructive preparation, and we mean that literally. The cooking method and temperature used can destroy essential amino acids that play a key role in maintaining strength and preserving muscle. Think back to childhood memories. Maybe your grandmother's scrambled eggs were delicious, but they didn't necessarily deliver all the expected energy and benefits. That's because the preparation may have exposed the protein to excessively high temperatures, altering its structure and making it harder to absorb. This is a phenomenon known as heat-induced protein denaturation. Despite the technical name, the concept is simple. Imagine the protein in an egg as a perfectly arranged pearl necklace. Each pearl represents an amino acid, and the correct sequence allows the body to use those nutrients efficiently. When eggs are exposed to temperatures above 180 degrees Celsius, about 356 degrees Fahrenheit, that structure breaks down. It's like taking that perfect necklace and tangling all the pearls into a knot that's hard to undo. As a result, the body has to work up to 3 times harder to break those bonds and absorb the amino acids. This increases digestive effort and often reduces absorption efficiency. A study from the Food Technology Institute of Spain analyzed eggs prepared at different temperatures and found that when cooked under intense heat, there was up to a 35% loss in biological value, especially in leucine, an essential amino acid that stimulates muscle protein synthesis, particularly in older adults. This loss is especially critical because leucine is one of the most important triggers for activating muscle building, and a deficiency directly impacts the prevention of sarcopenia. Here's the dilemma. For decades, we've learned to cook eggs based on the guidance of mothers and grandmothers in a time when food safety was the top priority, not nutritional preservation. It made sense back then, since there was a greater risk of contamination from microorganisms, and high temperatures were seen as a safety guarantee. This change, combined with proper distribution throughout the day, already represents a major improvement in how the body utilizes this versatile and nutritious food. The traditional method of cooking eggs over high and fast heat did serve its purpose decades ago, when the main goal was to eliminate any risk of bacteria such as salmonella. However, that same method is extremely harmful when it comes to preserving protein integrity and making the most of the egg's nutritional value. And let me guess how you cook your eggs. You put the pan on medium-high heat, wait until it's hot, add oil or butter, and once it starts sizzling, you add the eggs. Am I right? This process can easily make the pan temperature exceed 200 degrees Celsius, about 392 degrees Fahrenheit, well beyond the point at which proteins begin to denature and lose quality. Among the most destructive methods, scrambled eggs cooked on high heat are at the top of the list. When you see them start to jump in the pan, it means the proteins are being rapidly denatured. Those harder clumps that sometimes appear in scrambled eggs are actually coagulated proteins that your body will have more difficulty breaking down and absorbing. The same thing happens when we fry eggs until the whites turn completely white, firm, and rubbery, a clear sign of overcooking. Ideally, the egg white should retain a slightly translucent appearance and a soft texture. For scrambled eggs, beat them in a bowl first and cook over low heat, stirring constantly with a silicone spatula. This takes 6 to 8 minutes, but the result is creamy with intact proteins. Poaching is probably the method that best preserves protein quality. The water should be around 85 degrees Celsius, 185 degrees Fahrenheit, forming only small bubbles at the bottom without intense boiling. In the case of omelets, cooking over low or medium heat and folding them over allows the residual heat to cook the inside gently, avoiding temperature spikes. Fixing the cooking method is already a big step forward, but mistake number 3 may be even more surprising. It involves food combinations that impair the absorption of amino acids from eggs. Even when following all the proper cooking techniques, many people still reduce the nutrient bioavailability by up to 60% simply by pairing eggs with certain foods. That's because the digestive system doesn't process each nutrient in isolation. It works like a crowded highway where different molecules compete for the same absorption lanes. Certain foods contain compounds that act as inhibitors of essential amino acid absorption. The first group includes phytates, which are found in high amounts in whole grains, oats, whole wheat bread, and seeds. Although these foods have health benefits when consumed together with eggs, they can bind to important amino acids like leucine and lysine, forming complexes that the body cannot absorb. A study from the University of Illinois showed that a single slice of whole wheat bread consumed with eggs can reduce leucine absorption by up to 45%. The second group includes tannins, found in coffee, tea, and wine. They have a high affinity for proteins, binding to them and reducing their bioavailability. This is the exact process that causes the dry or rough sensation in your mouth when drinking red wine. Research from the University of Barcelona involving 60 older adults showed that consuming eggs with coffee led to a significant reduction in the availability of amino acids in the blood, negatively impacting muscle protein synthesis. In the previously mentioned study on coffee, the group that waited at least 2 hours after eating eggs before drinking coffee had 38% greater muscle mass retention compared to those who consumed coffee with the meal. This clearly shows how a simple adjustment in meal timing can have a profound impact on results. The third inhibitor of amino acid absorption is excess calcium. Here's a surprise for many. It's not the calcium found in the egg itself, which is minimal, but rather the calcium from dairy products consumed alongside it. That glass of milk with your scrambled eggs, or the yogurt served with your omelet could be competing with amino acids for the same transporters in the intestine. The fourth inhibitor is excess fiber. Although fiber is essential for gut health, consuming more than 15 grams in the same meal as eggs can significantly reduce protein bioavailability. This happens because fiber, especially soluble fiber, can form a kind of net that traps some amino acids and speeds up their elimination before full absorption. So, eat eggs on their own, or with healthy fats like avocado or olive oil. Wait at least 90 minutes before consuming coffee, tea, or foods rich in phytates, and save dairy and high-fiber foods for separate meals. This simple protocol already helps maximize protein utilization and preserve more muscle mass. After addressing these issues, we arrive at mistake number 4, which debunks one of the most common beliefs about eggs: the ideal quantity to consume. Most people over 50 eat less than half of what they actually need, leading to a constant state of protein deficit, even among those who believe they are eating well. This explains why so many older adults feel tired early in the day, even after a good night's sleep. The issue lies in what's called the leucine threshold. Leucine is the key amino acid that activates muscle protein synthesis, acting like a switch that signals muscles to begin repair and growth. In young adults, around 2.5 grams per meal is enough. But after age 50, due to anabolic resistance, when muscles become less responsive to protein stimulus, it's necessary to reach between 2.8 and 3.2 grams of leucine per meal. One large egg contains about 0.5 grams of leucine. Eating 2 eggs only provides 1 gram, far below what's needed to fully activate muscle building. This means that to reach the threshold, it would take approximately 6 eggs in a single meal. Many people fear this amount because of cholesterol, But current scientific evidence shows that for most people, especially those over 50, dietary cholesterol has minimal effect on blood cholesterol levels. A 2019 meta-analysis involving over 500,000 people reinforced that there is no significant direct association between egg consumption and increased cardiovascular risk in the general population. A study led by Dr. Stuart Phillips from McMaster University followed 48 men and women aged 65 to 75 over 12 weeks. They were divided into 3 groups. Group 1 consumed 2 eggs per day, 12 grams of protein. Group 2 consumed 4 eggs per day, 24 grams of protein. And Group 3, which we'll look at next, received an even higher amount to assess the impact on muscle mass, strength, and function. In Group 3 of the study, which consumed 6 eggs per day, totaling about 36 grams of protein, the results were impressive. This group achieved a 4.7% gain in muscle mass and a 23% increase in strength, while Group 1, which consumed only 2 eggs, lost 2.3% of muscle mass during the same period. Group 2, with 4 eggs daily, maintained their muscle mass almost unchanged. To understand this, imagine your muscles are like a plant. In youth, a small watering can is enough to hydrate it. But as you age, it's as if the plant develops a protective layer that repels water. And to get it to absorb, you need a stronger stream. At the cellular level, this means your muscles become less sensitive to amino acid stimulation, requiring a larger dose to activate protein synthesis. Dr. Douglas Padden-Jones, a world-renowned expert in protein metabolism, compares the situation to an old car that needs more fuel to climb the same hill. The engine isn't broken, just less efficient. To find your ideal egg intake, the calculation is simple. First, multiply your weight in kilograms by 1.4 to get your daily protein requirement in grams. Then divide that number into 3 main meals. And here comes mistake number 5, the invisible enemy, egg quality. 2 eggs that look identical can differ by up to 300% in nutritional value. This difference is mainly due to the hen's diet and living conditions. Free-range hens, raised on pasture, eating insects, herbs, and organic grains, produce far superior eggs compared to caged hens fed GMO corn and soy feed, often with routine antibiotic use. A study from the University of Pennsylvania, led by Dr. Karen Applegate, compared conventional eggs with eggs from pasture-raised hens. Pasture-raised eggs had up to 6 times more omega-3, a key nutrient for reducing chronic inflammation, one of the factors that accelerates muscle loss. They also contained up to 300% more vitamin E, which protects cell membranes during exercise and muscle repair, and up to 7 times more beta-carotene, an essential antioxidant for recovery. In addition, the amino acid profile was superior, with 23% more leucine, precisely the key amino acid for activating muscle building. On the other hand, industrially produced eggs may promote a state of silent inflammation due to their high omega-6 content from corn and soy-based feed and the presence of antibiotic residues. This chronic inflammation directly impairs muscle function and accelerates sarcopenia. To illustrate, a study from the University of Illinois followed 120 adults over 60 for 6 months. One group consumed 4 conventional eggs per day, the other, the same amount of pasture-raised eggs. Both followed the same training regimen. The group consuming conventional eggs saw a 2.1% muscle gain, 8% reduction in inflammation, and a 12% increase in strength. Meanwhile, the pasture-raised egg group achieved a 6.7% muscle gain, 34% reduction in inflammation, and a 28% increase in strength. The only difference, egg quality. A simple freshness test is to place the egg in a glass of water. If it sinks completely, it's fresh. If it floats, it's old. Although higher quality eggs cost more, the cost-benefit pays off when you consider that fewer eggs yield better results, reducing the need for supplements and future medical costs related to muscle loss. And it's right after understanding the importance of quality that we reach mistake number 6. One of the most dangerous, as it can destroy muscle slowly and silently, and 94% of older adults are completely unaware of it. It involves something basic and seemingly simple: water. But as we'll see, it goes far beyond just staying hydrated. Have you ever noticed that sometimes after a protein-rich meal, your thirst increases significantly? Or that there are days when, no matter how much protein you eat, your energy remains low? This may be linked to mistake number 6, forgotten hydration. It's a point rarely considered, even by health professionals, when discussing nutrition and protein utilization. The truth is that muscle protein synthesis requires not only adequate amino acid intake, but also a significant amount of water available specifically for anabolic processes. This water is essential to transport amino acids through the blood to muscle cells, facilitate enzyme reactions that build protein chains, remove metabolic waste, and maintain ideal cell volume for muscle building. According to Dr. Lawrence Armstrong from the University of Connecticut, even mild dehydration, about 2% loss of body fluids, can reduce protein synthesis by up to 23% in older adults. The problem is that after age 50, aging hypodipsia occurs. The sense of thirst becomes less accurate, causing the body to signal its need for water less effectively. Add to that the fact that the kidneys become less efficient at concentrating urine, increasing fluid loss, and that reduced muscle mass, which stores water, limits hydration reserves, while increased body fat, a tissue low in water, worsens the situation. As a result, many people live in a state of mild chronic dehydration without realizing it. A study from the University of Nebraska followed 84 older adults for 3 months and found that 73% were chronically dehydrated, with protein synthesis 31% lower than that of well-hydrated participants. A constant hydration flow is necessary, especially during anabolic windows, the period right after consuming protein. In addition, water quality matters. For amino acids to enter muscle cells, there must be adequate electrolytes: sodium, potassium, magnesium, and chloride, acting as keys to open the cellular doors. That's why choosing mineral water with a good mineral profile or balanced hydration solutions without excess sugar is more effective than filtered water low in electrolytes or commercial sports drinks full of sweeteners and simple carbs. The solution is to create a protein hydration protocol. Calculate your required volume, divide it into 8 to 10 daily doses. Prioritize water with electrolytes around meals containing eggs, and monitor urine color. It should remain a very pale yellow. Now we reach mistake number 7, the most dangerous of all: ignoring the digestive state. This is the point that can nullify all your effort, because consuming high-quality protein means nothing if your body can't break it down and absorb it properly. After age 50, physiological changes in the digestive system directly affect protein utilization. One of them is reduced stomach acid, up to 40% less hydrochloric acid production. Without enough acidity, proteins don't fully unfold, making it harder for enzymes to act. Another factor is decreased pepsinogen production, which can drop by up to 35%, making protein digestion slower and less efficient. And there are also changes in gut microbiota, which loses some of the beneficial bacteria involved in amino acid metabolism. Dr. Nicholas Deutz from the University of Arkansas showed that older adults with impaired digestion absorb only 26% of the amino acids they consume, compared to nearly 90% in people with optimized digestion, which means you could be eating 6 eggs and only benefiting from the equivalent of 1.5. To correct this, follow the perfect egg protocol, which integrates all the adjustments discussed. Digestive preparation, 30 minutes before, drink 250 milliliters of water with a pinch of sea salt and half a lemon to stimulate stomach acid. Select high-quality pasture-raised eggs. Cook them gently at low temperature. Avoid combining them with absorption blockers. Chew properly, and maintain controlled hydration around the meal. This protocol, tested on over 100 adults over 3 years, showed progressive improvements. In weeks 1 and 2, better digestion and less bloating. In weeks 3 and 4, more energy and less fatigue. Between weeks 5 and 8, noticeable strength increase, and after 4 to 6 months, visible gains in muscle mass and restored functional capacity. This approach isn't just a nutritional trick. It's a scientifically backed strategy to fight sarcopenia directly and consistently, using a simple but powerful food consumed strategically.